Okay, so we'll make a start, and then if anybody joins late, I'll sort of let them in. So thanks very much for attending, everybody. So today's boardroom is facilitated by Claire Spratt from Netley Consultancy. So the session today is about understanding and adapting your communication styles. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Claire.
Thanks so much, Jo. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining in your lunch now. We really appreciate that. As Jo said, I'm Claire Spratt. I'm from Netley Consulting. And this session is about understanding and adapting to communication styles. I'm also an insights discovery practitioner. So if you've heard of that or MBTI or anything similar, that's the kind of thing that we might be talking about today. So just whilst we're gathering and waiting for the last few people to join, a couple of things that's useful to have. A pen and paper, as always. Your phone, if you would like to, we're going to be using some website interactivity. So I'm going to ask you to scan a QR code on your phone at some point, if you'd like to. It's kind of fun. And also have a drink nearby, right? So this is me. I'm a learning consultant. I'm director of Netley Consulting, and I'm also a self-awareness practitioner. And I work with teams around the world in helping them understand their, which is the basis for trust and building good teams and good relationships at work. And whilst we're gathering, it's always really nice to hear where everyone's joining from. This is my first time working with HR Recruit, so I love to get to know you a bit. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to share a word that describes where you're joining from, just one word, and also a word in a moment that describes your communication style. So just start thinking about that. And if you have a phone handy, just scan this QR code. It will open up a web page. And when the slide comes up, you'll be able to share your words there. It's kind of fun. So a few things which are good to know. It's all about communication today. This is a snippet from a longer workshop, a longer service. And we're going to cover some of the basics in 45 minutes, just a few things which are useful to know. We're going to hopefully have a breakout towards the end. We might stay together as a group and have a group discussion. We'll see how many people we have. And this session is all about awareness of self and others. We'll be using, as I said, the discovery model, as that gives us a bit of context, to explore the styles and preferences of others. And we love it when you're open with your own experiences, because that helps everyone learn. I really hope that you enjoy the session. I know that many people who are joining are HR managers, and as HR managers, we have to communicate important messages with the whole gambit of communication preferences. So whether that's leaders or company-wide communications or one-to-one meetings with people that you really need to land an important conversation with, or maybe someone you're supporting. So having the ability to recognize, first of all, your own communication styles and the clues to the communication styles of other people is absolute gold dust. What we talk about is doing just a 5% step towards the style of somebody else, and that encourages them to relax and take a step towards your style and engage more. And if you both take that 5% step, that's a 10% improvement in everything. So that's a little bit of context about what we're going to be talking about here. Get your phones ready, scan the QR code, and before we start, just share a word that describes where you're joining from and a word that describes your communication style. So let's see whether anyone has done that. Does anyone need the QR code again?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's Talkative from Hampshire. Here is the QR code. Just hold your words for a second. Have you got that, John?
Yes, thanks.
Wonderful. Okay. So it will open up a page. Just type in where you're joining from and a word that describes your communication style. See if we can build a word cloud here. Ah, lovely. Kidderminster. And what's the word that describes your communication style? Let's see if that one comes up there as well. Ah, empathic. Like that. So we've got talkative, empathic. Any more words you'd like to share? It's always nice to see your words appear on the screen.
And it hasn't come up, Claire.
Oh, I love that. Concise. Brilliant. What else have we got? Hampshire. Someone else is joining for Hampshire. remotely, thoughtful. Yeah, these are great. Joyful. I love that one. That's a brilliant word. Yeah, really nice words coming up here. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate that. It's nice to see your words appearing on the screen. We'll have another play with this later on. So I'll show you the QR code later as well. So let's go. Let's talk about communication and self-awareness. If you is designed for people who haven't. We're going to be showing you the discovery model just because it gives us context for our conversation. But let's focus first of all on somebody in your universe that you would like to connect more with. So don't share this, just keep this in your mind or write it down secretly. So bring to mind somebody that you would like to improve your communication or your connection with. That could be someone at work, it could be one of the leaders or one of the team members you work with, just someone in your universe. And it might be the person that you meet for the first time and you think, oh, we're never going to get on. I don't understand why they do things the way they do it. They just rub me up the wrong way, or I really like them, but it's so difficult to do X, Y, and Z. So just think of that person, write that name down or keep it in mind, and I'd invite you to check back in on that later on. So Joe, just raise your hand when you've got a secret person. It just gives me an indication of how long we need to leave for people. Excellent. I hope you've all got someone in your mind. So if you have seen it before, this is the insights discovery model. Don't worry, we're not going to go through this, but it's really nice to have a little bit of context about what I'm about to talk about comes from. This is a personality profiling model, and notice at the center there are 4 colours. So 4 colours form the centre of this. And around the outside, if you've done any work with Jungian personality theory, there's also some clues to the different kind of personality styles that people have. So if you're someone who's a bit more observing or coordinating, you might fit more in that sort of blue section there. Or reforming, someone who likes to improve things or has very high standards. Maybe you're a bit more directing, you're brief, bright and gone, motivating, helping. So some really good descriptors here. We're not going to go through the model, but Jung's personality theory was first of all based on perception. So his idea was that whatever our personality style is, then, and also our experience and our life skills and things which have happened in the past, that feeds into how we perceive the world around us. And he used this tool, I'm sure you've seen it before. Has anyone seen this before? Just come off mute and let me know.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah? Excellent. Elaine, I could see you emphatically nodding there. What do you see? What do you see here?
I can see both.
Which one did you see?
I can see both the young and older lady.
Okay. So let's take the young lady. Tell me something about her, Elaine. So where's she from? What language does she speak? What's going on for her today?
I haven't added the narrative to her. I just can see her.
Okay. Well, tell me something about what you see.
She's got eyelashes, according to me. Just see the tip of her nose and the defined sort of cheek.
Tip of the nose. Yeah, she's got a cheek here. Yeah. Anything else about her?
Then on the older lady, perhaps a frown, a harsher look to the lips.
Okay. So the older lady. So she's got a frown. Let me just draw the old lady. So this is her eye. And this is her frowning. She's a bit grumpy there. Maybe she's grumpy. Maybe that's perception. So do you think she's warm or cold? What's going on for the older lady?
I haven't really assigned whether she's warm or cold. So I'm just looking at it at the moment as a picture. I suppose that's the HR in me that would say I won't overjudge anything.
Nice, I like it. How about John? Thanks ever so much, Elaine. John, what did you see first?
I see the young lady.
See the young lady. Tell me something about the young lady, John.
Long flowing hair.
Yeah, long flowing hair, like that.
Long chin. And that's it, really.
Do you know where she's from? Is she English, French, American?
Oh, no idea. I'd say a more French, Spanish type
French, Spanish
area with the hair.
From now, John, or from a different age?
Oh, older, I think.
Older, okay. Are we talking medieval, Victorian?
Victorian type thing, I would say.
Yeah, excellent. I feel like I'm feeding you words here. Any idea what she might do for a job? If she has a job, who knows?
No idea.
No idea. Excellent. Has anyone, thank you so much. Has anyone got any other things that they've picked up from these pictures?
Yeah, I think she's from another age. I think she'll be like the young lady for sorry of my English, but for a different hierarchy on society, like a rich top young girl, for example.
A bit more upper class, I like that.
Yeah. And also the picture is on profile, so seeing the right profile.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for everyone who shared something about them there. I've shown this picture to about 2,000 learners over the last few months, and every time I show it, I get different things. I get different stories. So when people see the young lady, we might have a range of exactly what you said. She's young, she's upper class, or someone might say she's Spanish or French, like John just did there, or just say I don't know anything about her. I've heard she's been stood up on a date, she's a dancer, she works for a cabaret, she's at a fancy dress party in New York. With the older lady, the variety of stories that people have about her is she's from Disney. That seems to be quite popular, particularly with graduate audiences at the moment. She looks like my grandma. She's sad, she's happy. But what we're proving here is that we can all look at some lines on a piece of paper, and we're all looking at the same thing, whether that would be a picture like this or a business problem or a conversation. And the perception that we put behind these things can vary depending on our view. And the trick that we talk about with Jungian theory is to, first of all, appreciate that our perception of something, the young lady's from Paris, she's Spanish, she's at a fancy dress party, she's from New York, that none of those things that I've heard or that we've shared a little bit of here are you wrong or right. They're just different. So we call it turning frustration to fascination. So rather than saying, no, that's wrong, the way that you do things is wrong, or the way that you see that, it's going, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think that. What could that be? So if we put that into the context of personality theory and communication styles, we all have different ways of doing things. And the personality theory, or the shortcut that we use in discovery, is to assign colours to the kind of personality preferences that we might have. And right here, these are the colour preferences. So they're just a really quick and easy way of making Jungian personality theory very accessible. So in this model, there's 4 colour energies which describe the kind of personality traits we might have. And we have all 4 inside us, as does everybody else in the world. But the order to which we relate to these, or we prefer these, changes. So we've got fiery red, as the name suggests. This is brief, bright and gone. This is your bullet point people who just go, here's the information, bang, move on, very decisive, very forward thinking, future focused, results measurable. So fiery red, we remember that with brief, bright and gone. And then it's opposite earth green. Earth green is a bit calmer. Earth green is the colour energy in our personality that might be a bit more harmonious. It's very values driven. And these will be the people who think, a bit more relaxed, but what else have we missed? What else have we missed in this conversation or this decision? Let's just consider it for a moment. Lovely sunshine yellow. So we remember earth green by show me you care. So values driven, show me you care, connects with me in a personal way. And sunshine yellow, if we have a preference for sunshine yellow, this is a bit more enthusiastic. Sunshine yellow is the outgoing, loud, friendly side of our personality. And it likes to have information to become involved. So the tagline for sunshine yellow is involve me, and it's opposite cool blue. This is quite quiet and logical. So cool blue likes details, and when we're using our cool blue, we'll use logical thinking and quiet reflection time. And the tagline for cool blue is give me the details. And each of these color energies has a good day, a set of good day behaviors, and just have a think about the ones that you relate to most. And in a moment, also have a think about that secret name that you wrote down, what you think their preferences might be. So if we go into a bit more detail about fiery red is described on a good day as purposeful, competitive, demanding, determined and strong-willed. So that brief, bright and gone, that's where we get their things done, get on with things, get them done by this time and be decisive and move on quickly. And it's often quite directing, so directive. It's opposite type earth green, that calm, show me you care piece. We can recognize this because it's more encouraging and caring, it's sharing, patient and relaxed, a bit more family orientated maybe. Just as strong as fiery red, but this preference is a bit more personal. Cool blue, lovely cool blue, that give me the details. The good day behaviours here are more formal, precise, cautious, deliberate and questioning. This is a bit quieter cool blue, a bit more reflective. And on a good day, a lovely sunshine yellow involve me. That's demonstrative. You're throwing your arms around, enthusiastic, persuasive, dynamic, sociable. This is where our innovation might come from. And the moments that we need to make connections with people in the organisation, this is where our influencing stakeholders might come from. So have a little think and write down what you think the first and second most relatable colour energies might be for you. And you're probably already thinking, you know, that secret person I wrote down, I'm beginning to see what their preference might be. And of course, every colour energy, every person also has a bad day sometimes. And the way in which we describe these colour energies when they're being overused, and often the conversations we have as HR managers or leaders is when people are under pressure. What we see coming out is what we describe as bad day behaviour. So it's worth knowing about these two, because again, they're another clue to the communication styles that you might come across, and they give you the clues to what somebody's preferences might be and what you might need to do to adapt. So lovely earth green, remember that, show me you care, calm, harmonious, the coaching inside us. On a bad day, when the values of earth green are offended, this turns very strong. So this gets stubborn and slow and plodding and reliant. Earth green on a bad day, if you lose their trust, oh my goodness, it's so hard to get back. And they go quiet, and you think maybe quiet, you know, silence is compliance. They could also be plotting to kill you in your sleep. This is earth green on a bad day, right? We all come across it. Equally lovely fiery red, that brief, bright and gone. When that's overused, that can come across as driving, aggressive, controlling, very impatient, intolerant and overbearing. So lovely fiery red, getting stuff done. When that's under pressure, that becomes a bit, you know, a bit pointy. And our cool blue, our fantastic cool blue, show me the details, logical, quiet, thoughtful, process-based. When that's under pressure or overused, that can come across as cold, stuffy, indecisive. This is where we get into a bit of a thought loop. You know, give me more information, I can't decide, give me more information. It's a bit more suspicious and reserved. And our lovely sunshine yellow involve me, that outgoing, connecting, relationship-based sunshine yellow. When this is overused, this becomes a bit frantic and indiscreet and hasty, maybe making decisions or saying things without thinking just to move on. And they all have opposites. Again, if you bear in mind that person that you've written down that you'd like to connect more with, sometimes when our opposite preference is having a bad day, and you can tell that from their communication preferences, they often see their opposite as being, you know, earth green thinks lovely fiery red's just going about his business and being brief, bright and gone, and earth green's a bit under pressure and thinks, wow, you're aggressive. That can play out like this. So imagine that fiery red is in a team and thinks, if the team are going to love me, if we all finish our work by 3 o'clock, we can all go home at 3 o'clock. So I'll go and tell earth green, I'll bang up to their desk and I'll say to them, hey, earth green, finish your work by 3 o'clock, right? Done, brilliant, they're going to love me. And come 3 o'clock, fiery red thinks, oh, why haven't you done your work? I told you to do it. And goes over and says, why haven't you done your work? And really, earth green has thought, I'm not doing anything in that tone of voice. You haven't even asked me how I am. And actually, the way that could have played out differently is if earth green thinks, okay, don't take it personally. I can see fiery red coming. They're going to be brief, bright and gone. Whatever they say, it's going to be direct and it's going to be quick. And equally, fiery red could think, I'm going to go and see earth green. I might ask them how they are. Hey, earth green, I've got this idea. How about we all finish our work at 3 o'clock? Brilliant. And you know what? I'll finish this at 2. So that's an example of how the opposites might start to interact. Equally, cool blue and sunshine yellow are opposite personality preferences. So sunshine yellow might think, wow, I haven't seen my friend cool blue for ages. They've been on holiday. I'll go over and see how they are. And they bebop up to their desk and say, hey, cool blue, how's your holiday? And cool blue thinks, oh, you've done it now. I was working quietly. I was focusing. I had my earplugs in. I was just, getting some stuff done, and you've just ruined it. I'm just going to ignore you. I'm going to turn away. And sunshine yellow thinks, they haven't heard me. Where did you go on holiday? What did you eat? And cool blue thinks, I'm going to turn away and ignore them. Whereas actually, again, that adaptation of thinking, sunshine yellow, I haven't seen cool blue for ages. I wonder if now is a good time, and email them. Is now a good time? And cool blue sees sunshine yellow coming and thinks, okay, I am focused. This isn't a good time, but sunshine yellow might be offended if I don't meet their enthusiasm. Thank you so much for asking. Now's not good. See you at 3. So that's just a little bit of insight into the personality preferences that we have and others have. And again, think about who comes to mind when we're describing these good day and bad day, and make a note of that secret person. Gives you a clue about what their style might be. There's a little bit more going on. There's some words coming up on the screen which also describe the color energy. So our cool blue is a bit more diplomatic. When we're dialing this up, a bit more concise and factual. Earth green is a bit more sensitive. Sunshine yellow is very influencing. Fiery red is very purposeful and realistic. And we have all 4 color energies inside us. So just make a note of your first and second color energies, what you think they might be. And also the first and second color energies of the person that you want to connect more with. And think about this in the context of communicating across your organization. There's a bit more going on. Jung also talks about the perceiving functions. And the perceiving functions, there's actually 6 of these. So there's 3 pairs. We're only going to focus on one. He talks about the way in which we like to make decisions. So do we think or feel our decisions? The way in which we use information to pick up information from the world around us. So looking at a business problem, do we use our sensing or do we use our intuition? And the one that we're going to focus on is how do we like to process our thoughts? Again, good clue to communication styles. And how do we like to re-energize? And that's the introversion and extraversion piece. And everything over on the right-hand side here, this is on a sliding scale. If you spot someone or you are someone with a preference for extraversion, the way in which you may arrange your thoughts is when you're asked a question, you speak to think. You speak to think. So if someone said to you, what should we have for dinner? And you have a preference for extraversion, you'll hear, wow, well, there's a really nice Indian takeaway down the road. There's a Chinese up the road that we haven't used for ages, but actually there's chicken in the fridge. It's going out of date. Let's have chicken. So speak to think, perfectly valid way of thinking through our thoughts out loud, arranging them and coming to an answer. If we have more of an introverted preference, or you spot someone with an introverted preference, they think to speak. Exactly the same question. If you say, what should we have for dinner? Here's what you'll hear from introversion. Chicken. So they've gone through exactly the same thought process. In their head, they've gone Indian, Chinese, chicken in the fridge, going out of date. Let's eat the chicken. Perfectly valid way of organizing your thoughts, but it just looks and sounds different to extroversion. So here's where the frustration starts popping up again. So if extroversion says to introversion, what should we have for dinner? And they hear silence. They think, gosh, they haven't heard me. I'll ask another question. How about chicken? How about Chinese? And poor old introversion is going, well, now I've got 3 questions to think through in my head before I can answer. That's going to take me 3 times as long. So introversion could say, let me just think about that for a second. Equally, if introversion asks extroversion and they hear Chinese, Indian, chicken, they think, well, which answer is it? You don't even know what the answer is. You're just saying things. And so extroversion could say, I'm just going to think that through for a moment. And we often see this in meetings. So that airtime that extroversion needs to arrange their thoughts out loud, speak to think, and equally that quiet time that introversion needs to think to speak. We need to have both of those. And there's a responsibility of leading with introversion just to speak up a bit more. and leading with extroversion, not to take up all the airtime. So there's another 2 clues as to what the personality style and therefore the communication style might be of yourself and the people you want to connect with. There's a few more clues here about how to spot these. I did say it's also a way in which you re-energize. So extroversion, you can spot this again from the way in which they might like to re-energize, or it might like to re-energize after a busy day. So if you lead with extroversion, that speak to think, you might pull out your solar panels, and the first thing that you want to do after a busy day is sit down with friends or family and go, wow, let me just talk, let me download, let me hear what you've been doing. I love the atmosphere. I love absorbing the energy from other people. This is brilliant. Now I'm ready to go. If you lead with introversion after a long day, the thing you might want to do to re-energize is just silence, just regroup. And then I'm ready to go, a bit more battery powered. And you can spot introversion, it's a bit quieter. It's a bit more reserved, a bit more reflective. So spot that, and you know that someone will need a bit more time to think through their answers. They don't like to be rushed. They need reflection time, need time to absorb. So their communication style is going to be a bit quieter. Extroversion, you can see this coming, it's a bit more talkative. It's action orientated and outspoken. Both are equally valid. But with extroversion, we need to leave a bit more time for them to arrange their thoughts and maybe idealize, we call it. So to bounce ideas around, discuss things. This is a few more clues to people's preferences. Are you beginning to relate to any of these? Is anyone seeing sort of 4 color energies or extroversion, introversion? I'm just going to switch off the slides for a second so that I can see your faces. Anyone relating to this? Yeah, I can see you nodding there, John. Paul, how about you? What are your thoughts? Paul's staring at me, he's terrified. Hi, Paul.
No. I was struggling to turn my microphone on, actually.
That's okay.
I'm getting bombarded with messages at the same time. What are my thoughts? I think we all fit into all those categories in terms of the 4 colours.
Yeah.
And the real art is, as you say, it's about being able to adapt those styles. And I think probably where you focus on it within the work environment. One thing that's just become very clear to me after all these, in my personal life.
Yeah, a lot of people say that actually. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Paul. Thank you. Really good thoughts. James, lovely to have you here. Hi, James. James and I know each other. He has a profile already. James, anything new so far that you've seen from the 4 color energies or communication styles?
Yeah, thanks, Claire. Full disclosure, we've done this exercise before, me and my wife, because we run the business together. And because it was so long ago, I kind of tracked and did hers versus mine. And it was interesting because I saw we're having a few staffing issues, and I realised one of the things that we're lacking, we got no green.
Yes.
We got loads of Kelly's. She's very much a red yellow. I'm weird. I'm a blue yellow, which opens up a whole can of worms. It's what?
We love that. That's 1 in 10. I mean, that's, yeah.
You want to try living with it, particularly if you're my wife. It's hard work. But yeah, so looking at that and just seeing really clearly, oh, wow, look, there's not enough green. And then things start to add up. So yeah. It's a great way of looking at relationships.
It's really interesting. Thanks, James. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. So let me pop back into my presentation here. Zoom's going to do the wonderful thing of not showing the one that I left off on there. There we go. So thanks very much for your thoughts there. I hope that it's beginning to resonate and you're beginning to relate to who might be where. We have a mix of introversion and extroversion. We won't cover thinking and feeling. That's another workshop. But if you relate more, or fiery red or sunshine yellow resonates more with you, that extroverted preference might be your first preference. You might also land somewhere in the middle, by the way. If cool blue or earth green sounds a bit like you, then your preference might be more on the introversion side. So how you re-energize and how you prefer to think to speak instead of speak to think. So have a little think about that opposite person that you want to connect more with. And we'll take a look now about how communication styles start showing up here. So first of all, that preference for introversion, or cool blue, earth green. If you spot someone who might have more of a preference for cool blue We usually mix that with, as James said there, it's opposite, sunshine yellow, or it might be cool blue followed by fiery red, which looks very different to cool blue followed by earth green. They might like to consider all the details. So if you're having a meeting with someone who shows up as a bit more cool blue, they like to know in advance what to expect and have a bit more reflection time. And they become flustered if they haven't got preparation time. So they like a bit more time to reflect before they answer. So think of those conversations as one-to-one, or maybe the company-wide communications where click here for more details is their place to go. Like, why have you sent me this? All right, here's the detail. Okay, I've got the evidence to back it up. If you spot someone who's got more of an earth green preference, earth green really, really needs to feel listened to. So connecting on a more relaxed personal level, that introversion, a bit quieter, a bit calmer, so less formal, but asking opinion and then giving them time to answer and really showing that we've listened is key to building trust with earth green. Equally, fiery red are brief, bright and gone. Be direct and to the point. You know, these aren't the people who enjoy the story about the holiday or the cat. They just want to get stuff done. They still care. It's just they care through their filter of fiery red. They enjoy more of a quick fire pace. Yep, get to the details, just get there. And again, in our company-wide communication or a one-to-one, this is the bit where you go, here are the headlines. This is what's going to happen. This is what it means to you. This is when it needs to be done. That earth green prefers a place to talk about it and understand it. And sunshine yellow, so being friendly and sociable, pouring hot water on sunshine yellow's thoughts and ideas. The quickest way of doing that is to give them a huge amount of detail. They're just, you think they're listening because they've gone quiet, and they're not. They're making a list in their head about what they're going to do next. So friendly and social, engaging, upbeat, and leaving time to share ideas. So there's a few more clues. Just have a little think about, I know that James has a profile and a few other people might do as well, but there's a section in the personality profile that gives you clues to your communication do's and don'ts. And here's a selection I've taken from people's profiles. So if you had a list of your absolutely 101 communication do's, so when communicating with me and your communication don'ts, some of these might pop up. So just have a look at those. It's a variety. So providing information that stimulates discussion. Some people really need that in order to engage. And others, you just think the moment you focus on details, you've lost me. Becoming dismissive of people's feelings. If we lead with fiery red, dismissing how someone feels about something is a very quick thing to do. Equally, if someone leads with cool blue, being flippant about important issues will leave them. So there's a few comments. If you are beginning to resonate with some of these colour energies, or maybe that person who came to mind that you need to connect more with, if you spot that they lead with earth green, some of the shortcuts to what to do are here. So if you spot someone with an earth green preference, be patient and supportive, ask them their opinion, give them time to answer, and slow down to that calm, harmonious pace. Don't take advantage of their good nature. So pushing earth green around to do things that they haven't got buy-in on is a quick way to losing their trust, and they won't listen to anything else that you say. Pushing them to make quick decisions, earth green is very resistant to change. They need to understand why it's happening, what it means to them before they go ahead with it. Springing last minute surprises, again, that doesn't play well with earth green. If you spot someone who leads with fiery red, be direct and to the point, brief, bright and gone, focus on results and objectives, and give them time-bound, measurable outcomes. Don't hesitate and waffle. Don't focus on feelings or try and take over. Fiery red likes to be in control of their own conversation, even if they're not in charge. If you spot someone who leads with cool blue, don't get too close. So someone who has a strong introverted preference, the moment you get too close to them or try and hug them, they don't listen to anything you say. They're just thinking, get out of my space. And don't be flippant on important issues. I mentioned that one, or change their routine. They like to know what's going to happen, how to prepare, what the outcomes are going to be, and confirm them in writing. They do prefer people to be well prepared, and put things in writing is a really good thing after a meeting, and having time to consider all the details. So rather than pushing for quick answers, is reflection time, absorption time. If you spot someone who leads with sunshine yellow, You need to be friendly and sociable. So how are you doing? A bit more upbeat, match their enthusiastic tone, be entertaining and stimulating. They're still very serious people. You just need to engage that conversation and land it first of all. Being open and flexible. There'll be a lot of lateral thinking going on with Sunshine Yellow. And it feels like easily distracted, but it's actually just a lot of things being thought about at the same time. And they need time to express that. Don't bore them with details, tie them down to routine, or ask them to work alone. This is an interesting one for the last 18 months. If you do ask them to work alone, that extroversion needs a lot of social contact. So a few more calls in the diary. So just take a moment to think about that secret person. We're going to work with some breakout rooms in a second. What you think the first and second preference of that secret person might be. And then I'm going to ask you in your breakout rooms to consider a couple of things. So just recall that person that you wanted to connect more with. Do they lead with Sunshine Yellow, involve me, enthusiastic, demonstrative? Do they lead with fiery red, brief, bright and gone? Do they lead with cool blue? Give me the details. Or do they lead with earth green? Show me you care. So just take a second to think about that. And then what we're going to talk about in your breakout rooms is how you might adapt what you do to the impact of your own preferences, adapt them just by 5% to connect with them more successfully. So the 3 questions we'd like you to think about in your breakout discussion is one thing you'll start. So one thing you'll start doing more of to connect more with that person, one thing you'll stop doing, and one thing you'll continue doing. And just take a few minutes. I think we've got 5 minutes there, Joe, till the end of our session to talk about your experiences. So a couple of breakout sessions. See you in 5 minutes. Back. So how was that for everyone? What did you discover? Anyone have a quick snippet of what they might stop, start or continue?
A lot of things, I think, but yeah, we were still in the discussing. But I think mostly, and I share my concerns also with Nadia and with Madeline, I think, that sometimes we have more difficult also to speak with in the managerial level with like the top management, because here I speak by me that sometimes I want to just to reflect the operational level. And they are just so top that sometimes I feel myself that I can't explain to the point, or to be assertive enough to the point to construct like a really good feedback or a really good policy that is adapted or very global for our people. So I think that it was the common concern.
Sort of communicating upwards, definitely, and know what those preferences are. Those preferences exist at all levels. Thanks, Martha. Really good thoughts there. Elaine, what did you discuss in your breakout room? Just can't hear you there, Elaine. Just very 2020. We love that. Thank
absolutely. Probably been scared by not hearing everything. I think we had some commonalities in terms of the different profiles and the challenges, and that how it had been described. We can see those individuals displaying them, and perhaps deciding to do the 5% of trying to meet people, as it was discussed too.
Brilliant, thank you. Did you decide what your secret person's colour preference might be? Did you spot that? What did you decide it was?
Blue.
Yeah, so a bit more reflective.
Oh gosh, yes.
Brilliant. Thank you. Nadia, how about you? What did you find? Hi, Nadia.
Hi. It was interesting with Martha, Marceline, and Nisreen. We've discussed like how to deal with different personalities, because working in the UK, it's my 5th year of living and working in the UK. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to communicate with managers at operational level who have different color type and personalities, trying to persuade and influence them. And sometimes it's difficult to keep your tone and communication as calm as possible, particularly when you're trying to repeat the same information again and again. It's a lot of training and learning still required.
Yeah, but just that 5% step, just spotting one of their preferences and doing one small thing and trying it can often make the difference. But yeah, really good observations. Any more thoughts before we close off here? Anything anyone else wanted to share about what they might stop, start, continue?
I'll have a go, Claire.
Thanks,
I
Jane.
think little timely reminder for me. I said, as my role in the business is sometimes offering the more cynical side of, come on, let's run at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I'm the person that goes, whoa, bit of detail. We need to actually know what we're doing before we announce this. But sometimes that bleeds into me being a little bit cynical. And I realize that knocks the energy. So it's a little bit of a challenge for me to kind of go, hold back, don't immediately leap to that. Oh, come on, we need to calm down. Go with the enthusiasm, because I don't want to dampen any flames, because I've got, that's really important. But I suppose it's just choosing my battles, isn't it?
Or just wording it differently. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great observation. Thanks, James. That's brilliant. Thank you. Just to close this off, I realised that we were finishing at 15:15, so we're running over a bit. But if anyone wants to stay on and talk a bit more, we're here. We've started with perception, then we talked about 4 colour energies, we talked about introversion, extroversion, and a few tips about how we can adapt our communication preferences to meet the do's and don'ts of other people. I'll send those to you afterwards, but it's always interesting to ask you what your word is. So just a quick word that describes what you've learned about your communication styles now. If anyone wants to, scan the QR code and share your words on the screen, which is coming up now. So just use a word or two to describe how the session was. And Joe and I are going to send you a bit more information afterwards. And if you have any questions, we love talking about this stuff. So we're here to help. Any words coming up there? Oh, there's one. Thank you. Pause, just slowing down and pausing. Great, thank you. I like the thumbs up, that's brilliant. Enjoying that. Well, thank you very much for spending your lunch hour with me. I hope that there was one thing in here, if nothing else, that helped you have a clue about how to communicate more across your organisation, whether that's slowing down and pausing, or not pouring water on that enthusiasm, or providing someone with a bit more time and detail, or speeding up a brief, bright and gone. I hope there was a clue there. I hope that helped you. Love to talk to you again, and thank you very much for spending your time with us.